We've officially crossed the threshold, and we're plunged right into this scene of just utter confusion with a cry so strange it's been debated for centuries.
Yeah.
It's the sound that opens the fourth circle. Papi Satan, Papi Satan, Alep.
It's an immediate jolt, isn't it? It's an alarm cry. It's the demon jailer Plutus guarding this whole chasm.
Yeah.
And whether it's just nonsense or some kind of, distorted language, it works perfectly. It tells you you're entering a world of monstrous greed.
And that's really our mission for today. We're going to take a deep dive into Canto 7 of Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
We're analyzing the punishments for, well, sin's material obsession, that's avarice and prodigality, and then sins of uncontrolled emotion, which are wrath and sullenness.
But the really big piece here, the thing that elevates this whole canto, is this massive philosophical interlude, Virgil's whole explanation of what fortune actually is.
Exactly. But before we get to any of that, we have to deal with Plutus himself. The source material calls him the bloated lip or the accursed wolf.
Right, he's the embodiment of earthly riches, and he is not happy to see Dante and Virgil. Not at all.
You'd think a demon guarding an entire circle would be a huge threat, but Virgil, well, it makes pretty short work of him. It's a pattern we see again and again.
Oh, he absolutely does. Virgil doesn't even really negotiate. He just turns to the symbol of greed and shuts him down. He says, "Be silent, thou accursed wolf. Consume within thyself with thine own rage."
I love that line. He's basically telling him to just stew in his own sin.
He is.
But how does Virgil have that authority? I mean, Plutus is meant to be intimidating.
Well, he asserts that the journey is willed on high, but he does something more. He connects it to a really powerful precedent, Michael's vengeance on the rebel angels.
Ah, so he's reminding him of heaven's established power over any kind of rebellion.
Exactly. And confronted with that divine mandate, Plutus just collapses instantly.
It's such a powerful image. It's a visual cue that greed, can't stand up to a divine purpose.
It really is. The text gives us this spectacular analogy. It says he falls even as the sails inflated by the wind involved together fall when snaps the mast.
He just deflates.
He deflates. That whole symbol of swollen, puffed up pride is suddenly flat and useless. It's a very clean, immediate transition into the chasm itself.
Okay, so let's unpack this descent. The text says this chasm, all the woe of the universe in sacks. That implies just a monumental level of misery. And the sheer number of souls is staggering.
Yeah, the poet says he saw people more than elsewhere, many.
And the punishment itself is just this scene of unrelenting, exhausting labor.
It is. You see souls rolling these massive weights like boulder-sized masses, and they're pushing them forward by main force of chest.
So they're straining, naked, in this continuous grinding circle. It's described as a rita, a round dance, but it's the most miserable dance you could ever imagine.
And that physicality is so important. They're using the main force of their chests, just physically defined by the weight of their obsession.
And the whole point of this endless labor is the clash.
That's right. They roll the weights until the two opposing groups, the avaricious and the prodigal, they meet head-on and just smash into each other.
And then what? They just turn around.
They immediately turn backward, they roll in reverse, all while shouting these accusations at each other.
Right, and the shouts are perfect little summaries of their sins.
They are! The hoarders, the avaricious, they yell, "Why keepest?" And the squanderers, the prodigal, shout back, "Why squanderest thou?"
So they're just forever blaming the other side, without ever seeing that they're just mirror images of the same exact vice.
A total lack of measure. And what's so fascinating is that this constant rolling and turning, this back and forth, it's the central dynamic that sets up the whole discussion we're about to have about fortune's wheel.
It's foreshadowing.
It's perfect foreshadowing. They're eternally bound to this physical, cyclical futility.
Now here's a detail that is truly shocking. Dante is looking at all these sinners, and he notices the shaven crowns on one side and asks Virgil, are all of these people clergy members?
And this is one of the most powerful indictments in the entire Inferno. Virgil confirms it. He says those with no hairy covering on their heads include popes and cardinals.
Wow.
The very highest ranks of the church, where avarice, he says, found its most excessive practice.
That really grounds the political reality of this whole thing, doesn't it? Dante is saying the very institutions that are supposed to save souls are corrupted by this exact obsession.
Exactly. Their crime was being a squint in intellect. They lost all moral sight, couldn't find moderation in either spending or keeping.
But what really stands out to me is that they've lost their individual identities. Dante can't recognize anyone, not a single pope or cardinal. Why are they all anonymous?
And this is such a profound statement on materialism. Virgil explains their undiscerning life, which made them sordid, now makes them unto all discernment dim.
So their total obsession with wealth just erased them as individuals.
It erased their uniqueness, it stripped them of their essence, and on top of that, their resurrected bodies will actually reflect their sin. The hoarders will rise with a fist closed, the squanderers with their tresses shorn.
So they are physically defined by their sin.
Yes, and Virgil gives us this devastatingly simple takeaway about it all. He says all the gold that is beneath the moon, or ever has been, of these weary souls could never make a single one repose.
No rest. The lack of repose is the whole point.
It's eternal. And that observation leads Dante right to his big question. If wealth is so transient, what is this fortune that controls it?
This is the huge philosophical pivot of the canto. He asks, Master, what is this fortune that has the world's goods so within its clutches?
And this is such a critical question because it lets Virgil offer this massive theological correction. For centuries, fortune was seen as this blind, arbitrary goddess.
Just pure luck or random chance. If things went bad, it was just bad luck, and you had every right to be angry.
Exactly, but Virgil completely reframes her. He says fortune is not chance. She's a general ministress and guide ordained by God himself. She is part of the divine order.
So just like God made guides for the heavens to distribute light,
the regents of the planets, yeah.
He made fortune to manage the distribution of wealth on Earth.
Her purpose is divine. It's necessary. It's to constantly change these empty treasures from nation to nation, from family to family. It's to prevent any one group from becoming too dominant forever. And she acts beyond resistance of all human wisdom.
So all the hoarding and spending these souls did was totally futile. You can't predict her, and you definitely can't stop her. Her judgment is hidden as in the grass a serpent.
And here's the profound irony. Fortune herself is blissful. She rejoices as she turns her sphere because she's doing God's necessary work.
Oh, we humans.
We humans constantly blame her. We give her bad repute. We crucify her when our own personal fortunes turn instead of seeing her role in this bigger cosmic balance.
So the biggest sin isn't really hoarding or squandering, it's the rage. The inability to accept the changing circumstances that are dictated by a divine plan.
That's the perfect, seamless transition. That frustration leads us right into the next circle. Virgil even notes it's past midnight, sinks each star that was ascending, and they have to go down to greater woe.
And the whole landscape changes. It goes from dusty ground to, liquid darkness.
Yes, a fount that boils and pours out. And the water is described as more somber far than purse. It's this deep, heavy, purple-black color.
And it forms the marsh of Styx.
It does. And here we see the final dual punishment of Canto 7.
Oh.
Orphans of anger split into two groups based on how they express their rage.
Okay, so first, the ones you can see. The wrathful. The people whose anger was explosive, external.
Right. They are fighting fiercely above the mire.
And it sounds horrifying. Give us the visceral details.
Oh, it's just sheer animalistic violence. They're mud-besprent, splattered with filth. They're naked, and they're in a non-stop brawl. The text says they smote each other not just with hands and feet. They were tearing each other piecemeal with their teeth. It's just pure, destructive, endless fury.
That jump from pushing inanimate weights to tearing living bodies apart with your teeth is a huge escalation in destructive energy. Avarice was, organized futility. This is just chaos.
Precisely. And then you have the hidden punishment. The sullen.
These are the people who internalize their anger. Let it fester.
Yes. And they're fixed deep beneath the water, suffocating in all that mire.
And the only sign they're even there are the bubbles rising to the surface. It shows their internal rage is still boiling even if it's silent.
Right, and they're so consumed by the mire they can't even speak properly. They have this haunting, gurgling hymn that comes up through the filth.
Choked by the very bitterness they cultivated in life. And their confession is just so profoundly sad.
It is. They gurgle, "We sullen were in the sweet air, which by the sun is gladdened, bearing within ourselves the sluggish reek. Now we are sullen in this sable mire."
Wow. That sluggish reek they carried inside them is now their physical reality for eternity.
It is. The wrathful externalize their suffering, but the sullen have the ultimate frustration of not being able to express anything at all.
So looking back at this whole canto, we've moved from the measured, repetitive sin of avarice and prodigality,
where the conflict was verbal and rhythmic,
to the explosive animal violence of the wrathful, and then finally to the silent, suffocating anger of the sullen.
The canto really establishes a clear pattern. Sins of financial excess and sins of emotional excess, they both stem from a failure to accept measure, a failure to accept your circumstances.
In the end, the gold beneath the moon just can't buy you repose. It doesn't matter if you're trying to hoard it or raging against the fact that you lost it.
Virgil called the world's goods a transient farce committed to fortune. And if you take his lesson seriously, that fortune is divine providence, a blissful minister doing God's will.
Then the greatest sin here is just the arrogance of thinking your own rage or your own intellect can somehow resist a divine, necessary plan. It gives you a lot to think about. I mean, if fortune is working for some greater good, constantly shifting circumstances, then what responsibility do we really have for how we react to the inevitable changes and setbacks that she dictates in our own lives?